I just want to give Vibrant Performance a huge shout out for sponsoring today's video. Thank you to Vibrant for providing me the amazing parts I need to plumb up my turbo system on my EK hatch. We also got a Vibrant Performance catch can. I'm really excited about that because they look super high quality. We picked up the shears, which does an amazing job. We need that. We have some fittings. As you guys can see, I've kind of got ahead of myself and I tried some of the stuff out already because I was just so excited. So we got this done. Another thing I picked up was their AN wrench. I'm so happy about this. This is adjustable. It does a really good job and minimizes the damage done to the fittings. We're gonna make some lines for the turbo system. We are getting there, as you guys can see. It's slowly getting there. We have some nice stuff happening around here. We have the Vibrant Performance feed line that I'm messing with right now, trying to route it in a super clean way. We are getting there slowly but surely. I think a few more good work days on this and we'll get it done. Another few things, if you guys haven't noticed, old hardware, new hardware. It's the little things that make the difference. That is the Street Legacy upper control arm hardware. Let's get into today's video. I am hyped. We're doing the fueling system for the car. I'll show you what else I got with the fueling system and what we need to get this thing moving. So I want to give a big shout out to K-Tune also for hooking it up with their fuel filter setup here. I'm excited to use this. It is one of their best ones they have. It is huge. It's a 10 AN you see here, but we've stepped down to the 6. I wanted a big fuel filter so that I would have to maintain it less pretty much. We are going to be running the 1300cc alpha injection. Check that out, very nice. Over here is a radium regulator, and then we have the hybrid fuel rail. We pretty much got the best of the best across the system for our fueling needs. Let's get to doing this work. I am hyped. The feed line's gonna stay like this for now. Don't mind the zip tie. I'm gonna do this proper afterwards, but I'm trying to shape the line to stay in this position. And then afterwards, what I think I'm gonna do is mount it somewhere like that. This is a 4-foot line for a ram horn. And I hate the way it looks. I wish I can tuck it better, but it is what it is. I think I gotta pick and choose some battles. And then if I can align it and then keep it somewhat like this, stays away from all the belts over there, I think we should be good. Now we're gonna do the drain side. As you can see, I have that out. I've made my first line. I wanted to test it out, so I've made this line here, and this is a PTFE line. I'm gonna show you guys how to do it afterwards, but we're gonna put the fitting in and we're gonna tighten that up and see how it goes. So this is the fitting. It is Vibrant number. This is for a Moroso pan. It's a 1/2 inch to -10. Let's see if it fits. I still have to tighten this down, but this is my first line I've ever made. One thing I didn't take account for is how far this would have stuck out like this. So I have a feeling I'm gonna have to remake this line because of this here. Shit. I did not take the piping into consideration. Probably have to make a line that loops further out this way. This is why you test fit things. Trial and error, boys and girls, trial and error. What I'm gonna do now is I'm going to full mock up the piping, the intercooler piping, the manifold, to see if I'm going to run into any other hiccups with the plumbing of the fueling system. Probably should have done that first. This is why you watch me, so I can make the mistakes and you guys can smoothly do it, right? This is why we live and learn. Okay, so the oil line looks good for the feed for the LSV Tech kit. The feed line for the turbo looks pretty good here too. It's a little close to the alternator, but we do have a gap. I may heat sheet this just for heating purposes. I do not want it to melt. If you guys have any better way of routing this, just comment down below. I've seen across the valve cover, but I don't want to do that personally. I've mocked up where the intercooler should sit, just using some speaker wire to kind of hold it up. But I'm assuming I'm going to keep it around in this area here. I don't know if this intercooler piping is going to work off the EG, and then I need to come up with some mounting brackets up here or something to hold the intercooler up. I may do something with the rebar and make a bracket there, not too sure yet, but this is holding it in place pretty well so that I can faux mock up all the piping. What I'm going to do is at least put that guy on so that I can make the drain for the turbo, and then we can start doing the fuel lines. All right guys, so we have this on for now. You can see it's kind of faux mocked up. The rest of the piping is going to take a bit of work to make work. I'm testing things out. I have an old PRL coupler for my tension. That actually fits really good on the throttle body to see if I can faux mock up all this, but I don't think it's going to work out. I have a feeling I'm going to have to do new piping. And the thing that kind of screws me up a little bit, if you guys can see that line right over there, and it's a little dark. Let's brighten you guys up. So that line right here, that's a brake line that's in the way where this piping should be coming out of. So I actually kind of made the line work. There's, as you see, there's a little tension behind it. We're going to keep it here for now. We're going to see. If it doesn't leak, we'll keep it on. If it ends up leaking or causing problems, we'll make another one. But it's working. I do have enough space. I have a finger gap between the coupler and that, so we should be pretty good. Wow, that worked out a lot better than I thought. All right, let's get to making our fuel lines. First, what you're going to need is one of these 5/16 -6 AN conversion. It's an EFI quick fitting. So what happens is, I'm going to show you guys on the EK first of all, but what happens is this bottom end here will convert your hard lines to an AN line, which is this guy right here. Let me show you. So you see how this hard line used to have a rubber fitting. Now we're converting it with that fitting to an AN line. So that's our feed and our return. God damn it. By accident, I got PTFE line, but my fittings aren't PTFE fittings. And it was totally my fault because I gave them the list. Okay, well, fuel lines are going to take a hold once again. What we can technically do now is mount up the fuel rail and the regulator to the manifold. Like that, we can see how we're going to run our line. So let's be a little proactive. Let's do that. Let's make a shitty, wow, I've been really angled this whole time. Wow. Let's make a shitty situation into a good situation. So this is going to be the setup here. Skunk 2 ultra intake manifold, and then we have our radium regulator, which I'm actually super excited about. This is a new regulator that you can adjust the fuel pressure by moving the knob at the top here. And we got the Hybrid Racing fuel rail. Very nice stuff. So let's start assembling this just so that at least we have it all together. It's one less step that we got to do afterwards. Alright, so that is the SKU number there of the radium fuel pressure regulator I'm using. They give you some stickers, and on the back of the stickers you have your install guides, and then here is the piece itself, which is nice. They already provide some thread sealant on the NPT fittings, which is nice, and then they have this really cool fitting that's going to convert I guess a -6 or whatever the fitting is here to the -8 on the rail. So really, really cool. And ideally this is going to go into here, and that will go on the side of the hybrid rail. What we're going to do here is grab this fitting, put it into here, and we're going to start tightening it down. And what we're going to need to tighten it down is actually an Allen key here. Get it tight here, and then it's going to start swiveling. And then we grab our Allen key, and on our ratchet, that's how you tighten this. Very nice. Make sure you pre-oil the rings just a little bit before putting it in. There we go. Once we get it started, it's going to go in and it's going to stop at a certain point, and then we're going to grab our Allen key and we are going to tighten it. And hold down. You can rotate it as it pleases. A good tight. So what's really cool about this regulator is that this rotates. So depending on where the line's coming from, you can rotate it. It's a very, very cool concept. Even this part here, once it's on the rail, you can rotate it to certain positionings. I like that a lot. I like the fact that even this, you can change the pressure by just a knob. This regulator has gone, you know, leaps ahead of everyone else in my opinion, just because of these functions alone. Now we're gonna grab our rail and we are going to attach this. They give you 3 vacuum ports. Let's see if I'm in focus here. They give you 3 vacuum ports, your hose end, a -3 and a quick, I guess a quick connect. We don't need these two. We are just going to do a hose end for this application. I will keep the other two in case we change in the future. In installing the vacuum port, we are going to use a little bit of Loctite. I'm going to use a 262. I believe they recommend the 294, but I only have the 262. And make sure you don't clog the vacuum port there. Now that we have it pretty much fully assembled, what I'm going to do is just put the NPT fittings in. The good thing is they already provide some sealant on there, so we're just going to use our Allen key bit and put that guy in. Yeah, check this out. So I was getting itchy. And I wanted to do it. I found I had this adjustable wrench that fits perfectly in this gap here. Instead of waiting, I decided to put some 3M tape along the edges there, as you guys can see, and it worked. I tightened it down, and that stayed in there. Cheap, effective way of doing your fittings. If you're doing multiple fittings, I wouldn't recommend doing this, but because I was just doing one, it worked out, and because this fits perfectly in that gap, it just worked out so great. Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy about that. Now that we have the fuel rail ready, we have the manifold waiting here, we can now test the injectors. Once again, these are 1300 cc's. As you can see, these come with injector clips too, which is really cool, but I'm using the Ray spec engine harness and he built them in, so it's gonna look much cleaner. So the alpha injectors are in. I use some lubricant on this end and I will use a little more on this end to get this through, which is on the other side over there, those gaps there. But yeah, so far so good. Let's continue with this. Let's mount this guy to the manifold, and then this setup is pretty much done, and now we're ready for the fuel lines once I get the PTFE fittings in. God damn it to do that, but we're gonna still keep moving. And then there's still a lot of work to do within the engine bay. We still need to put a catch can system in here. We need to run our engine harness. A lot of stuff. I'm still messing with, like, you know, old things that were connected to the car that I gotta figure out too. A lot of mysteries this car holds. Manifold setup looks so freaking good. I love the black on black theme on this. The blue injectors weren't my first choice, but I really wanted to work with the alpha injection, and that is their signature color. And then the rotating, look at this. This is all tightened down, but this is adjustable. See that? You can adjust fuel pressure. You can adjust the positioning of where it's at. Look at that, incredible. With the Skunk 2 manifold, this thing looks so freaking good. And we are back. It's time to do the fuel lines. It's been delayed and delayed and delayed, but we are back and I'm excited to do them. Let me show you. This is what we're going to use to make our fuel lines. We have the Vibrant fuel lines, fittings, EF5 fittings that convert to a -6. We are doing -6 from the front to the back of the car, and we are going to use the K-Tune high flow fuel filter that was stepped down from a -10 to a -6. So that's what we're gonna do right now. And the manifold is pretty much ready to go. We have the Alpha 1300 cc injectors, hybrid rail, hybrid fuel gauge, radium regulator, map sensor from Speed Factory, TPS from Speed Factory. I think we're ready to go finally. This took a lot of finagling throughout the week to get done because B-Series is new to me. I'm learning things and I enjoy learning things. It's been really good. I just wanna give a huge shout out to everyone that's been helping me with the B-Series. This is a new world for me and I'm fully doing this solely by myself. With people, with like lifeline calls, you know what I'm trying to say? I have a good friend named Bobby Moto who's giving me a lot of information, Race Spec for all the harness stuff, Garage 16 for all the parts, and all my amazing partners like K-Tune, Vibrant Performance. It's been a hell of a trip so far, and I'm super excited because we're getting very close to getting at least this fired up. So that is the goal. I already know the second I go turn this on, I'm going to be scared shitless. But if we can get our fuel lines done today in this episode, the next episode will be probably starting to prime things, fill coolant, fill oils, prime the turbos, and do all that fun stuff, and maybe get a start up. A few things have happened off camera. Testing mount bolts out for the Street Legacy hardware. We have some of our heater core lines in with new clamps. If you guys like the clamps, I could definitely hook you guys up with that. The COP is finally done. Ray Spec helped me a ton. He basically modified my engine harness to run this perfectly. I gutted this out, Ray depinned it for me, and he soldered in the chip. I've been mocking up where I want to put this fuel filter because I want it to be accessible to maintain it. And the great thing about running a K-Tune fuel filter, especially the high flow, there's more mass to cover more fuel. You have to maintain it less, which is great because that's what I want. And it's just a great fuel filter. The small ones are basically disposable, and these ones you can just maintain it by changing the mesh inside, and K-Tune does provide the mesh. But I got the brackets, we've stepped down from a 10 to a 6, and now I gotta figure out where the hell I'm going to put this. What we're gonna do is, we're gonna make our first fuel line. First fuel line is always the easiest one. So this is a PTFE fitting. The main difference with this fitting is you have yourself what this is called an olive. We're gonna take this side first, and we're going to put it through our AN line, and sometimes it's definitely a little tough. So you have to give this some love. I'm going to put the olive here because I don't want to lose it. Let's do it like that. Once we have it slipped through, it's a beautiful thing. Now the tough part. Do you remember how this olive was in here? So now what we have to do is this olive has to sit between the line, so the nylon braid, and over the plastic or PTFE line. I don't know what it's considered underneath, and this has to sit between here. So that's the tough part. So you're probably gonna see me struggle for a little bit, but this is probably gonna be the easiest one because this is already cut so nicely. Let's get to it. I'm definitely gonna struggle on camera. We'll do a fast forward. I got the olive in pretty well. And now this male part, it has to go through here, and this becomes a little hard too. So this is the whole reason why. Oh wow, I'm just Incredible Hulk. Sick. We'll put this female side over this braid, and we're gonna tighten this. This is where it gets a little hard. Ideally, you can get a vise on the table itself, like I have to the left of here, and then you use your AN wrench, and then you can tighten it. The vise, there are guards, which I didn't get, unfortunately, which I should have got. So I used a bit of 3M tape, and definitely helps minimizing the damage to these guys. And then I will use the AN wrench to tighten this. I will vise down basically this part here. So we'll clamp this side, and then we're gonna basically use the AN wrench on this to tighten this together, and boom, we've made our line. Here it is, it's done. I actually had more luck using 2 AN wrenches over my makeshift vice grip, guards, so that's what I did, but I finally got it on. This is the EFI fitting that converts your hose line to this. I believe it's a 5/16. Don't quote me on that, I can't remember top of my head. So now let's get into the car. This is about 20 foot of hose. We should need a little less than 10 for each side, so let's get to the car. I'm going to put this on the return side, and then we're gonna run underneath the car, and then we're gonna measure where we need to cut. We'll probably take it off again, and then cut it and redo the other line. All right, so bit of a hiccup. The feed and return hard lines are actually different sizes. I assume they were the same by just a quick glance at them, but they are not. So we're gonna do the feed line, and then the return line, I may slip the -6 over it and put a hose clamp and see if that works. I'm not too sure yet, but there has to be a way because many people do it. Maybe I just need a different fitting, but this is the smallest EFI fitting that I can get. So I'll have to take a look into that. But we're gonna do the feed line, and I'm super excited, and I'm kind of hyped. It's the first time I'm doing all this, and it's working out with a bunch of hiccups, but it's working out. That is the whole thing about cars. If you start getting into this type of stuff, just know it's not going to be an easy install. Sometimes something as simple as an intake gets hard. There's hiccups, things don't come proper in the box, you don't know how to do something. But with resilience and willing to learn, you guys can do anything. I'm a testament to that because at one point, I looked in an engine bay and I just saw scrambled eggs, just a bunch of the same everything. Maybe I knew what an air filter was and what headlights were, but like when I looked in an engine bay, maybe less than 10 years ago, it was like, whoa, this is wild. Things like these projects that take a long time and take a lot of time, effort, and research is where you really grow as a person, really grow as a mechanic. I'm not saying I'm a mechanic, but your automotive knowledge. So let's keep going. Yeah. I don't know what to say anymore. I'm just happy. I've decided I'm going to mount the fuel filter here. This is definitely easier if you have 2 people, so I'm trying to basically align where the line's gonna go, and I'm putting some tape so I know where I can cut. I'm definitely giving myself a little longer than I have to because I don't want to cut premature and then I'm pretty screwed. So I think I can get away with a straight here. We're gonna test it, and then afterwards I can run a a 90, a 120 degree, and we can bring it up and back around. I think that's gonna be nice. It's gonna be kind of hidden, right? Because we'll have the manifold here. So you'll see it, but you won't see it. I thought about underneath the car, but I just don't wanna do that. With my luck, I don't know, man, I'll hit something and break the fuel filter and I'll be screwed. I'd rather keep this tucked in the bay for now. Let's go! I've made my first fuel line. We've copied the same steps. I decided to go with a straight. Worst case, I'll change this out. I think I can bend the line. I gave it enough slack to bend the line and mount properly. So let's see. I'm going to just use one bolt to mount down the fuel filter right now, and then we'll run the line, and hopefully from there, we've succeeded and we've done it. So, wish me luck. Like I said, if I can do this, so can you. Trust me. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be mounted right here for now. I still have room to get to the oil filter if I need to, and then we're gonna run a 60 degree, and we're gonna run a 60 degree up. I wish I had a 90, but the 90 are back ordered. The whole fuel filter idea has kind of changed where I originally wanted to run it, which was underneath the car, would have been just 2 straights. But I think this is a better option for me now. So we have the return on the rail here, and it's sitting pretty good. On this side, all I need to do is make a line from, let's scope in there, from the filter to this side of the rail. So that is the last line that I have to do. Let's frickin' go, boys. One line looks really good. The other one's a little ghetto. But the PTFE-6 line slides over that pretty nicely. And then I just used a worm clamp for now. Yes, that is the smallest worm clamp I have at the moment. I will change it to something better and more appropriate. But there it is. That red tape, I just put on there for, I don't know, just to like mark it before I cut it. And I just left it there for now. But yeah, that is done. Heck yeah, boys. I know it's just like fuel lines, and to some of you guys it's just mad easy, but I'm actually pretty proud of myself. I haven't tried starting the car yet, but the lengths, the cuts, and how it's going pretty easy. So it's not too hard, but it just takes a little bit of time, especially when you're by yourself. If you have 3 people, this is mint. One person sits at the bay, one goes underneath the car, one goes at the hanger there. But when you're by yourself, you gotta hop in and out of each position and triple check over and over and over. But it's going well. I have one more line to do. Let me make that line and I'll circle back with you guys. She is done. This is the last line I made with what fittings I had left. It's a little weird. It's a 120 to like a 60 degree, but it tucks nice behind here and gives myself some room for this line. That fuel system took me an entire week of dumb shit happening over and over and over, back order parts, and I got her done. I got her done. This is where I'm leaving off this episode. After this, I'm going to have my buddy Dalton come by. He's gonna help me modify the intercooler piping for this car so that we can start getting all the fun stuff done. We are near the home stretch. I find that this last bit of everything's taking me longer than like 80% of it, and maybe that's how it is. But I did the K-swap EK. This is definitely more technical, I would say. But I'm really excited that I'm doing it and I'm learning. And I just want to thank you guys. If you guys stuck to the end, you guys already know the deal. Comment down below, #OG. I want to see who my OGs are, who've been watching the channel day in and day out, even when I was posting twice a week, once a week, twice a month. I want to see the people who really support. Let me know down below. Like, comment, and do me a favor, share the video. Let's see if we can hit 30,000 subs. We are so close. I've had that on my goal board for like over a year now. And we probably would have hit it if I kept dedicated to just solely YouTube, but life happens, different things happen, different ventures. I have Street Legacy hardware, which is coming to play with all this. This is why I have all this new hardware for the car. I'm doing R&D on the car as I'm taking bolts out so I can offer you guys a bunch more stuff. I just want to say thank you guys. You guys are the absolute best. Peace out. Do it once. Do it right. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.